am compelled by Schlock.
Well, you can schlock in, but you can't schlock out. Welcome, everybody. I am Darby Lewis Wilson, and with me is Chris Anonymous, and we are your hosts for this little live internet broadcast show. How's it going, Chris?
Yeah. Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Just a heads up for everybody, if you can hear like a buzzing in the background or a humming, that is because
Not the bees.
It's not the bees. It's not the bees. Thank heavens, it's not the bees. Yeah. It is, in fact, my air conditioner, my AC, because it's 93 degrees in my house, and I'm also not wearing any pants. So I am in my own burning room of inferno, which is very relevant for this week because we are talking about the movie starring John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson, based off of a Stephen King short story called 1408, or as it should be called, 1408, or as I call it, Room 1408. So pick your poison on how you feel about saying the letter zero as the letter O. Thoughts?
I mean, we could also pronounce it 1408.
Oh,
because
man.
you have to think about most people when you go to a hotel, like, what room are you in? Oh, you're in 201, right? They say "oh" in a very colloquial sort of way. Mm-hmm. So if it's a hotel, they don't usually say like you're in 1408. They usually say you're in 1408. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to pronounce it that way.
How about 148? That's just confusing.
I like 148. I'm going to refer to this movie as 148 from now on.
148.
Have you ever seen that one movie called 148?
They don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Right.
So this movie came out in 2007. I think it did pretty well. I enjoyed it. I watched it. I think I watched it in the theaters. I can't exactly remember.
I have the exact same problem. I'm like, I know I saw it right when it came out. Like, so either right when it was on video or DVD, or in the theaters, and I go back and forth on which it was. Well,
and that's really interesting because this movie kind of lends itself to that, wondering what exactly is going on. What is the true version or the true reality of the movie, which we'll maybe get into a little bit later. It cost $25 million to make. And what do you think it made back? I like this game. 25 million is more than I would have thought it would have cost to make.
Well, with that cast, I don't. I mean, if you had a
that's all John Cusack and Samuel.
The cast.
Yeah.
I bet it made 40.
40 million?
Yeah. You're
way off. It made about 130, almost $133 million. This is why you got to make horror movies, man. They return on investment so well.
Wow.
That's worldwide. That's not just in the US, but worldwide.
Wow. That's impressive.
So, and like I said, it started off as a Stephen King short story. He was apparently it was going to be in a book, a nonfiction book about how to revise a draft. And so he was writing the story to show like how he would revise it and stuff. But he liked it so much that he turned it into a short story, and then it got made into a movie, which I think is very ironic because there's like 3 or 4 different endings to this movie, which is another reason why I can't remember where I've seen it. And I think every time I've seen it, it's been a different ending.
Okay,
this was a different ending.
This was a different ending because I was watching it. I'm like, that's not what happened.
So ironic, and it's I'll bring it up later, but
a little
that's
too
kind
ironic.
of some of my problems with the movie. It seems like it maybe could have gone through another draft or two, but
As a movie or as a story?
Well, as the movie, I think they could have streamlined it a little bit better.
They should have taken his advice on how to redo a story.
You're right. They should have read the book.
Right.
So
on writing at your local bookstores.
One of the reasons I think this is an interesting movie is because it kind of hits on some really good fears about like how creepy hotel rooms are. That scene where he's talking into his recorder about how hotel rooms, like, they're so weird and so disturbing due to the fact that like they're made to be like the same and comfortable. And we just know that like there's stories of haunted hotels and hotel rooms all over. Something that is interesting that I saw was that there is actually a hotel, the Emily Morgan Hotel in San Antonio, with a room 1408 that is sealed due to alleged paranormal activity.
Huh.
And I'm not sure that they knew this prior to this story being created.
Wonder how many 1408s got sealed after this story and or movie.
Yeah, it's like a reality imitating art. But people start sealing off those rooms.
Right. So
anyway, thanks for tuning in to our show. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. It really makes us feel good. And if you have something to say, jot it down in the comments. We're not always right. And in fact, we're probably wrong most of the time.
I make it a point to pretty much talk out of there the entire time. Pure nonsense.
Talk out the rear.
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm talking about. But I'm glad you're listening.
What we do is we talk about the good, the bad, what we like and didn't like, and then the schlock. And that's kind of what's this movie about? Like what's working in the movie, what's not working in the movie. It's where we come up with theories. It's where we come up with just themes of the movie. It's kind of a catch-all. But first we like to talk about how's this movie connected to other movies? Hit me up,
the web
Chris.
of schlock. This is kind of where we look at other schlocky movies that some of these people may have done. The director, he went on to do a movie called The Right with Anthony Hopkins. Did you ever see that? It was
R-I-T-E.
Yes.
I believe I did.
Wow.
Good.
So this guy has a theme with you. Like, I think I saw that.
Yeah.
And
I saw it.
And then he also did another schlocky movie, different genre of schlock. But do you remember Escape Plan, like early 2010s, like 2013?
Sylvester Stallone and
Schwarzenegger. Yeah. So this guy.
Well, I can't remember if I've seen it or not.
Right. He was a Swedish dude, still is a Swedish dude. And he had a fair amount of foreign films under his belt, and then came over and made a couple movies and then a couple more. And this was kind of right in the middle of it. The writing is really interesting. It's three writers. One is a pair of writers, and I have no idea what I'm going to say is true or not, but I'm still going to say it. I assume the pair of writers wrote it first, and then this other writer came on and like probably rewrote it. It could be based on the movies I'm going to tell you that they made. I think that's the way it goes. So the writing partners are Scott Alexander and Larry Karaszewski. They're responsible for Problem Child 2. I'm like, yes. They did some Tales from the Crypt. And then they did a fair amount they did a couple of the more serious Tim Burton films. They wrote Ed Wood and they wrote Big Eyes. They also wrote the Goosebumps movie.
Okay.
So yeah, like horror and schlock, but also like kids and stuff.
And all pretty solidly entertaining stuff.
Yeah. And then the other screenwriter credited is Matt Greenberg, who is schlock, but also more horror for sure. Let me pull it up. This one had a nice list. So Children of the Corn 3, The Prophecy 2, Halloween H2O, Reign of Fire, and then 1408. Later, he did
just all the sequels.
Yeah, all the sequels, and then
direct-to-video sequels.
Later on, he did Seventh Son, and then one of the most recent is the screen story for the remake of Pet Sematary.
A lot of those I don't care for.
I haven't seen a
I
lot
don't
of them,
hate.
but I like
But I
that
don't
that he had his finger in all those like classic franchises. Maybe those aren't the best
Stephen King
versions.
veteran.
Right. And then one actor I want to mention, I mean, a lot of famous actors in this, so there's no need to talk about them and bring them up. We know what they're in. But Benny Urquidez, I'm sure I'm butchering his name. Black belt in like 9 different martial arts, fight choreography, fight stunts, extra actor, fighter and stuff. And he was a laughing henchman. Urquidez,
What character did he play?
Oh, he played in this movie. He played the guy with the hook who he fights.
The guy with the hook, with the hammer.
The hammer, yeah, the hammer.
The hammer time.
The creepy hammer time guy. Yeah.
Okay, so the hammer killer.
Yeah, the hammer killer.
We got a picture. Can we bring that up while you're talking?
Yeah. I love this guy. He was a henchman in Roadhouse. He was a thug in Tango and Cash. He was a gang member in Street Fighter. I mean, just tons of this. But he has one of my favorite bit parts of all time. Have you ever seen the movie Grosse Pointe Blank?
Yes.
Okay.
John Cusack.
Yes, John Cusack. He is Felix La Poubelle.
Ooh.
He's the guy that he fights in the before I say this, we spoil everything. Movies that you don't think are going to get brought up, we bring them up and we spoil them. He's the guy where he fights in the hallway, and he's the assassin sent to kill him, and he goes to the prom thing and he stabs him with the pen.
Yep.
Yeah, this dude.
I vividly remember that part.
Yeah,
so he's just a professional movie henchman killer.
Right. Yeah, and I guess he has credits as doing stunts and or additional crew stuff, and yeah. So shout out to that dude. He's awesome.
Nice. Well, and you brought up spoilers. I want to revisit that. We might not spoil this movie for you because, again, it has several different endings. So
yeah, we'll spoil one or two versions, but that's it.
So go watch this movie. This might be a good place to start for the show because you can see what it's all about and then go watch the movie.
So I think I'm just spitballing here off the top of my head with the good and the bad and who gets what. You picked the movie, so I think I should start with my good and bad. That gives you a little more time to get into it.
Okay. Let's do it. I like it.
Good. I love the color scheme in this. It's way overdone, but I kind of like that. Like just tons of yellow, just so much yellow and gold and yellowish wand tints and like too much, but I liked it. So it could be in someone else's bad. It's in my good. I mean, even the poster behind you is just that washed out yellow with hints of red in there. Oh, yeah, love it. I really like it once you get in the room. Once you get into the room, I think it's a pretty cool movie. I love the cast. I like the story. I like the idea of a guy going to haunted places and writing about it and different things. So that's my good. He's 3 good. So bad. Kitchen sinks scares. It's really hit and miss in that room. Most of them are pretty solid, but some of them, like the idea is really cool, but then when you get to it, like the 1950s TV people, it just doesn't look cool. It's just weird. It's not I'm sorry, I take it back. It looks cool, but it's not scary. And you're like, okay, that looks cool. It's not scary. It takes you out of it. Yeah.
So, it just doesn't fit with the aesthetic.
It's not visceral. I mean, because they do a really good job of like, and then you do this.
That's for like a Ring film where people come out of the TV.
And it's scary in the Ring film.
Yeah.
In this, it feels kitchen sinky in a bad way.
Yeah.
It's some of the plot's really confusing, and we'll get into that later. And then I don't like the first act. Well, the first act of the movie, basically before he gets to the hotel, it's just disjointed and weird. And some of it could be cool, but overall, it doesn't work for me. Once I get to the hotel, I like it. That's my good and bad, buddy.
Yeah, we got a lot of the same bads for sure. Let me start with my good. Again, you said it, cast, Samuel L. Jackson, John Cusack. I said last week, I always forget, but I love John Cusack. I like to call him John Cusack.
Yeah, works for me. I don't know, but I assume.
Maybe. You never know. I like that it's not very gory. It's not a very gory horror film.
No, but it's still effective.
it has it, but it just shows that like you don't need a bunch of blood and guts and violence, just maybe the implied blood and guts and violence to make a solidly creepy film. So I really enjoyed that. On the other hand, I felt like it was very Evil Dead, like an Evil Dead 2 sort of the descent into madness, where it's this person stuck in this room and they can't leave, and things are
even
just
some of the camera movement.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed that, and I just love that concept, this haunted hotel room that you can't get out of. What's it all about? Why is it doing what it's doing? How does it do what it's doing? I really love that idea. It's a solid concept, and the movie itself, like you said, once you get into the room, everything, it just moves. Everything takes you from one scene into the next. And I said this before the show to you. I like this movie more than I like it. I like it when I sit and think about it. It's like, that doesn't make sense. I don't know if I really like that. But the thing is, the movie propels itself forward so well that you really don't have time to like sit and think about the inconsistencies or what's going on. But on the other hand, I was going to put this in Schlock, but there are a lot of like continuity errors and things like that in this movie. Apparently, I never catch that stuff, but it's okay because the room is messing with this guy. Like, so there's like a lot of leeway in this movie to mess things up and not have a really coherent narrative.
Yeah, everything can be messed up.
So, but that's kind of moving into my bad. I think it's sort of it's a weak story. And there's a really long preamble getting into the room. And while I think the story has good workable elements within it, all of that preamble stuff, I think that they could have drawn out some of the finer points of the story there better. It takes us like 30 minutes to get into the hotel room. Like, I don't think we needed the call with his lawyer about, here, due to section whatever, you can get into this room that they won't let you in. He can just know that. Like, that's his business, is to get into these scary hotel rooms. He should know hotel law, right? You could just skip past that.
He's John Cusack. He should know hotel law.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't like the TV people. You already brought that up. And just the purpose of his books. I was really shaky on like what exactly it was he was doing as an author that goes and reviews haunted hotel rooms, right? Is he selling to people that like paranormal stuff, or is he trying to disprove paranormal stuff?
Well, and we'll get into this in Schlock because he's not a believer.
Right.
So why do it?
Well, let's get into it. Let's get into Schlock.
So he's not a believer. Right. So why do it?
To potentially disprove it. But that's not what it seems like. He tells everybody, stay scared, right? Like
it's like he likes the jump scare. It's like he likes horror movies. And so he's going to go look for it in real life. And he's disappointed he's never found it. But we don't get any of that from his backstory. And then you have the book signing where it looks like it's some like coming of age novel that's fiction and supposed to be literary. And like, I get the idea of something traumatic happens. I assume it's the daughter dying. Mm-hmm. That makes him not want to pursue literary fiction because it's too painful to create characters on such a realistic and deep emotional level.
You can't dream again.
Right. But why switch from that to books about nonfiction books that are about haunted places? Like, I don't understand that leap.
Yeah.
Because they never explained it to me as a character.
Well, I think it makes sense if his daughter dies. He needed a miracle. It didn't happen. He doesn't believe in God, so he doesn't believe in the supernatural. And so it would make perfect sense that he switches to like this embittered state where he's going to go to all of these like supposedly haunted or paranormal spiritual places and debunk them.
That would be awesome.
That makes sense.
Because what if he were going that first scene at that one place? What if he wants to go find a ghost so he can ask if he can talk to his daughter?
Yeah.
He's like, sorry, honey, here's another one that's a bogus thing.
Yeah.
That's a tearjerker. That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
And maybe that's in there, but it's not set up at all.
Right. I do think that that's in there, but you're correct. It's not set up well in that 30 minutes of setup.
Right. I mean, take the surfing scene out, please, and put that in. Oh, yeah. I hated the surfing scene. I know it comes back, but you could have anything there come back. Because what you put in that first part, you just call it back. And
he could have woken up in that other hotel room that he started in.
Correct. That would be really cool. Or at the bookstore, or in this car outside the bookstore. Not this total different movie of Endless Summer where he's just going to go surfing and it lasts forever. And you don't know that he likes surfing. You don't know anything about this character yet. Like, here's a scene of me signing books. No, here's a scene of me surfing.
Yeah, like it's not like the surfing helps him later or something.
Correct. Yeah, it's just a means to an end of he hurt himself and kind of passed out. So then it could all be a dream. That's all that's there for. There are 100 ways to do that.
Yeah,
that would still keep you in this aesthetic and
that are more streamlined and serve the story
and the genre.
Yeah, I tell you what, man, I hate it in movies and TV shows when people wake up and it's like it's all a dream, or they're living in a reality, and then they like wake up and they're back into a different reality, or like it's the story of you can't trust reality. Like it's such an interesting concept, but it totally like freaks me out. It gets me like really stressed. Oh, see,
I hate it for a different reason. I hate it because there are no stakes. So there's no reason to care about these characters or what happens to them because it doesn't matter. There are a handful of movies where they make it work. Like, with a lot of horror movies, like if they kill you in the dream, you die in real life. Then there are stakes. Then I'm okay with it.
Right. Well, I just mean like not knowing what's real. Like you wake up from the dream, but are you still in the dream? Like how can you ever be certain again? Like at the end of the movie, he thinks that he maybe has like some sort of connection with his daughter now, but that could be like very indicative of like, nope, he's still in the room. And in other versions,
he is still in the room.
I think that is
I've only seen this movie twice, and the first time I saw it, he was still in the room at the end.
It's kind of the Inception ending where the top keeps spinning and it's like
but the Inception version they very point you at that question, and that's kind of the point there. So Inception didn't like make me wake up in the middle of the night going okay. So this whole movie from the very start could still be in room 1408.
Yeah. It sure could.
There are so many times where we see things that are going to happen later in the film in that room. He sees things from the future and from the past. And he goes back home to that surfing at one point in time in the room. And the clocks keeps resetting. And he's given himself messages. So you wonder how many hours we've watched him live through 1 hour, but how many hours has he actually lived through?
Like Groundhog Day.
Before he burns it down, right? Because he already told himself to do that.
Well, when did he tell himself to do that?
When it's written on the wall. I mean, who else would have wrote that?
Any one of the other people that were caught in there? Or so I love the idea of starting the fire. That is my like go-to solution for anything. If you're lost, start a fire. That works for the woods, department stores, anywhere. Someone will find you. Yeah. I mean a small fire, not a forest fire. But yeah, so he decides that he's going to start a fire. There's this brick wall that says "Burn me alive." So I would have assumed that that's the room messing with him.
I would have assumed that too.
Like it's suggesting like hang yourself, jump out the window, burn yourself alive. And so I don't know why he would think that would be a good solution to his problem. I love it. It's a great solution.
Here's the thing that's intriguing to me is at one point in time, and I can't remember because it all kind of like goes back and forth. He's in a burned version of that room.
Yeah, like the sprinklers go off and he looks around and it's all decimated. It's
right. Yeah, it looks like it's been burnt up
before. Yeah.
Right. So that means maybe he's already tried this and here he's doing it again. That makes me think he's still in the room no matter what.
Yeah, so you're approaching it from a pretty interesting angle, and with the kind of Groundhog Day idea that maybe he's repeated this a lot of times, whereas like I'm, I guess, approaching it from the angle that this is his first time there, and this is probably how a lot of people approach it because they don't think so deeply as you. But this is his first time here,
It's
and
shallow,
the things
it's just
that,
wide.
that he's seeing are like just leftovers from the previous deaths in the room. You know, he's going over stuff with the black light and seeing all the blood spots, which
is a cool scene.
Who knows if if that was blood or something else. You never want to do that in a hotel room. Milk, lots of milk.
Yeah, milk and cookies. Okay, so I like that idea, and he does see things from all the different pasts, like the stupid TV people. But I like the hammer time person who attacks him. That's cool. The black light, but he looks out the window and he's trying to get the guy across the way, and that guy across the way turns out to be him in different clothing.
I love that scene. I wish it wasn't him in different clothing. I wish it would have just turned out to be his reflection as it gets clearer.
I would prefer that as well, but being him in different clothing, had he already been there? Was that a different time?
He was just trying it again.
Right. Because Samuel Jackson, who some argue that might be an angel or a guardian angel trying to warn him and trying to help him, and that's why he's happy at the end when he gets out. I don't know. We'll put a pin in that. So I think he's reliving it again and again. I think he's always been in it and he never gets out of it, and that's the whole movie.
Yeah, that's a really interesting idea, because when I think it's the phone tells him, you know, your hour is up, and I'm thinking, right, in an hour he's gonna like die or something, right? No, he's going to relive it again. And I was thinking, like, you know, really, that wouldn't be that scary if you knew that, like, there's ghosts that wander around in this room. You know, to not like put your hand in the window, like if you keep doing it again. Don't turn the hot
water on.
Yeah, it's not scary, and it's like, oh, well, that would suck for eternity, but at least I have a long time to figure this out. But if you forget and every time feels like the first time for eternity, right? That would be awful. And so I like your theory.
Samuel Jackson at one point in time says most people don't last an hour, but he's not most people. He's a horror aficionado. That's right. I mean, he's written these books. He's been to these places. So he knows a little more, so he's going to last longer.
Yeah. He knows all the tricks.
I have a question for you, and then I'm going to let you just take over for everything. Who sent him the postcard with no return address that says "Don't go to room 1408"? And then how did he know to go there?
So that maybe he sent it at one point in time during his previous cycle, or we see that the room takes over for him when he's on his laptop. So potentially the room sent it out, or maybe that laptop version was a version of him from a different time. I mean, that opens up a lot of possibilities. But we kind of brought it up earlier. Samuel L. Jackson's character, is he a guardian angel? I've seen things that say that as a theory, but it's also like, well, maybe he isn't. Maybe he's sent it out and he's maybe a bad guy.
Yeah. I also have a problem with like it getting sent out to the one person that it should get sent out to. Like, because it feels arbitrary who the 56 victims are before. They're all just people who stayed in that room, right?
Right.
They're not horror writers that go around to different hotel rooms. So it feels like, oh, now who would I want to kill? Oh, I want to kill the perfect person that I should kill. Like it feels very contrived. Unless it's that cyclical thing, which it almost feels like it's like Sisyphus, you know, keep pushing the boulder up, right? And then it rolls down. And then the ending can totally, depending on the ending you have, what interprets what the movie means. So in the ending that we watched, he writes his new book very quickly, and his wife's like, oh, that was fast. Like, oh, I've already written it before.
So is there this potentiality that the things that he's doing in his like relived hours, right, his relived fake lives, that they are going out into the real world in some way? So he could be the one that sent the postcard, don't go to room 1408. So
yeah, no, totally.
So I got two theories to throw at you, and that's really all that I have.
Okay.
So he comes up pretty early on that he's been dosed. And this is why I bring up, is Samuel L. Jackson's character a bad guy? He's been dosed by the bottle of cognac that he gave him. And this is online stuff. I would never catch this in the movie, but the name of the cognac, if you look at it, is Les Cinquante Sept Deques. I don't know. It sounds French. I can't say it, but it translates. What's that?
1408?
Nope. It translates to the 57 deaths.
Oh, nice.
And he said that there are 56 deaths there. And so John Cusack's character would be the 57th. Right. So,
but then they try.
So the bottle like maybe gives away a plan, right? But it's in French, and he thinks that, I've been dosed. He's put like LSD or a hallucinogen into the bottle. That's a pretty solid theory for a person who is like a horror writer, right? Like totally their imagination's gonna play into it. And he points to the vent. He says, "Hey, what's up in this vent?" And we know that like there's like a dead person in there, but they show this shot where he thinks that there's a camera in the vent. And I took a screenshot of this because I want to see what it was. I still can't tell what it is. I don't think it's a camera, but they never address what this thing is. It looks
like a half camera, half giant fly.
Yeah. I mean, I have no idea. I feel like he had a good theory. Well, here's like just doesn't stick with it at all.
And I like that theory because the carriage, if we can bring that up, who goes into the room next to him, which would be 1410. Yeah, that turns out to be his infant daughter, who is now dead, and his wife at some point in time. And it's also very anachronistic. Like that is not part of the modern world, that design.
Right. And it wouldn't even be part of the world that he was like currently in 10 years ago or whenever his daughter died.
No, that's like some 1920s type stuff, like when the original Hotel and Murders. I think the hotel might be haunted, and maybe room 1408 is like the heart, right?
Oh, see, I love that idea. Again, great ideas in this movie.
Yeah, a lot of great ideas. I like this movie. I don't love this movie. It's a solid B. It could have been an A, but there's a lot to talk about. What if you're right with the booze? That's part of it. I mean, Samuel Jackson could be a ghost or a demon or an angel who's trapped there trying to warn him, but he gives him the booze. Like maybe he has to. It feels very, it's a really interesting Harbinger scene that goes on forever, but Samuel Jackson is such a great actor. It's fun to watch. But
it's totally watchable.
So much to dissect in that Harbinger scene. There's so many great things. Okay. What's we're running out of time. What's
just my last thing. He's when the room turns cold and there's ice and frost everywhere, he's saying it's the 9th level of hell. It's the final level of hell.
Right.
And when I originally watched it, I was trying to follow it, like if he went through that progression. But according to the internet, apparently it's the progressions of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression.
I saw that too, which is cool, which is a cool way to structure something.
And I do love it when movies do that. And I think maybe that's one of the reasons it sticks with me, right? There is an underlying structure to it that you can follow.
It's a metaphor of him getting over the death of his daughter and coming to terms with that and his ex-wife and how to grieve properly and go through the stages, which is cool. Cool. Are we about done? Are we wrapping up?
I think we're out of time. We're at our 30-minute plus.
So you said one thing that I really like is the unreality of like you're shown different things and you have no idea what's going to happen and what's real and what's not. So next week it's summer. So I wanted a summer movie and I just, have the whole thing. So
What's going on?
So next week we're going to do the 1983 flick Sleepaway Camp. It's going to be great.
Yes. Oh, Michael Schluter, my man.
What's up, Darby?
How you doing?
I'm great,
Are we doing
man.
it? We don't have time to talk, but let's talk for a little bit while we get played out.
Okay.
This is Michael Schluter. He is a actor galore. Great guy, one of my best friends, one of Chris's best friends. He's how we even know each other. I think we're going to try and do some sort of watch party sometime in the future. I'm not exactly sure when that is, but we're gonna try and watch something and talk about it and get something up on the YouTubes. So until next time, I'm Darby Ellis Lewis Wilson. This is Michael Schluter. Off screen is Chris Anonymous. And we watch everything on Tubi. And that's it. Thanks for joining, everybody. And we will see you next week. Peace.
Schlocky, schlock, schlock. Schlock. Schlock, schlocky, schlock. Schlock. I am